So the other day on Instagram, I did a poll and I wanted to know if you guys would like a Whole30 update, and the results spoke. So many of you said yes, you'd love an update. I'm on day 16 of my very first ever Whole30. So I wanted to give you my thoughts halfway through the 30 days, how I'm feeling, what's going on, why I decided to do this, and then at the very end, early September, I'll give you a full rundown of the overall thoughts and feedback I have of Whole30. Okay, so what is Whole30? I'm not gonna explain a lot of it. A lot of you know what it is and can probably guess what it is, but basically you're eating whole foods. So you're cutting out anything processed. You're cutting out all grains, including quinoa and barley and brown rice. You're cutting out all sugars, processed and natural, so not even any honey or maple syrup. You are strictly eating pretty much all proteins, veggies, fruit, with the exception of any legumes. So you can't have any beans, you can't have peas, you can't have corn. Pretty much everything else is fair game. And so there's a whole list of things you can and then can't eat. You can't have any dairy, cheese, no regular milk, no butter. You can have stuff like ghee, you can have healthy oils and fats, you can't have eggs. So it's a very strict elimination diet, if you will. And if you go and do a bunch of research, it's just a very good hard reset for your body. And a lot of people do this to see if they have any food allergies or just to really be mindful of the way certain foods make you feel. So why I decided to do Whole30 is I really have found that I like a challenge. I generally eat pretty clean. If you've been around here a while, I follow a lot of times I'll do Kara Clark Nutrition's meals, and I will follow her 2 to 3 week challenges that she has. I love structure, but then there's those times where I'm not following them and I'm just enjoying life, as we all should. And I just started to feel like I was making too many exceptions. It was always a good excuse to have that piece of cake or to have pizza because I didn't want to cook on a Friday night. And I just was like, I'm not feeling great. I'm feeling a little extra heavy, feeling bloated. I'm feeling just off hormonally. And I'm really curious to see how just having a really hard, strict diet for 30 days would impact me. I was very curious about that. Also, my mom had just finished her first Whole30. She just turned 60. I'm like, if my mom can do it, I can totally do this. So I decided while I was up there visiting her that the very next day when I got home, I was starting it. So I'm on day 16 today. So I'm halfway through. I'm feeling awesome. Okay, so how do I feel? And I have to say I'm feeling really good now. It took about, I'm gonna be honest with you, 12 days to really work through the process, to really stop reaching and grabbing for like a quick snack like crackers or chips, wanting bread, wanting sweets, wanting a glass of wine at night. It took 12 days for my body, I feel like, to really detox. And it was definitely more difficult those first 12 days. In the last 4 or 5 days or so, I have had this really renewed sense of energy. I really feel like my energy is up. I just wake up feeling just alive. I feel excited. I feel motivated. Just I'm feeling really good. I feel less sluggish. I feel way less bloated. At night you feel like 5 pounds heavier in your stomach and everything just feels heavy. Well, a lot of times at night, even after eating a lot during the day, but very good clean ingredients, I just don't have that bloated feeling, and it is such a good feeling. Another thing about Whole30 is if you listen to Melissa Hartwig, she's one of the creators of Whole30. If you listen to her on any podcast or anything, she will tell you that it is a really good opportunity to practice mindful eating. And what I noticed, particularly the times that was most difficult in those first 12 days, were at night. So I'd put my kids down to bed and I would want to sit on the couch and I would just want to have something. So I'd want to have a glass of wine, or I'd want to have a little piece of chocolate or a sweet. And it was almost like this, I deserve it, so I should have it kind of mentality. And I noticed a cue of wanting those things and those desires were stemmed from a very emotional spot. You deserve it, and it was a reward. And so I've really tapped into that and become way more aware of when I feel like I need to reward myself with food or wine or something. based on having a hard day or a long day, and I've been really mindful of that. And so instead, I've just kind of tried to shut it off and look for other ways to reward myself, whether that's just allowing myself to like lay down and mindlessly scroll through Instagram, or just pick up a magazine, kind of distract, have a tea or a LaCroix or something else, because I don't need to reward myself for having a hard day with food. And so I've been really appreciative to just having that mindful eating practice and learning those cues. So a few tips for you if you're considering doing a Whole30. I mean, it's not over yet, but I highly encourage it. Why? Because hard things always are so good for us. It's definitely intimidating. It is definitely overwhelming. At first, there's so many resources though, which are A, I think a good thing, but B, can be overwhelming. But the resources and the availability of things that you can buy in your stores like Whole Foods or your natural health food store nearby. You can buy so many dressings nowadays that are Whole30 approved, whereas when Whole30 first started 8 or 10 years ago, like you had to make your own mayonnaise and you had to make your own ranch and all the dressings and things. And nowadays you can buy a lot of that, which is super helpful. I also am a firm believer in hard things. I think when we set aside a challenge and we stick to it, it makes us so strong. Like it makes us realize, yes, we can do hard things, and I am just capable and made of so much more than I ever thought possible. So I really like that aspect so far about it. I'm feeling strong mentally, and there's just a lot of good benefits aside from your health, but mental benefits that come from doing Whole30. Focus on all the things that you can eat instead of the things you can't. It's like, oh, I can't have pizza, I can't have bread, I can't have cookies. Like all the things you think that you can't have, focus on the things that you can have. You can have so many different types of fruits, and you can have so many different kinds of nuts and healthy fats. Oh, I forgot to mention you can have peanuts. But there are so many things that you can have that just make it like, okay, I'm gonna survive, I'm gonna be okay, and as long as I prepare and am well planned, we're gonna rock this. Leads me to my next tip is plan ahead. Have a well-stocked fridge. Plan for if you're out. If you're out and you have like this emergency, you couldn't make it home, have a healthy Lara-bar in hand. There's these chomp sticks that you can buy at Trader Joe's. Have those on hand. Just have something in case of an emergency. I have to say, in the last 12 days we went camping last weekend, I thought that was gonna ruin me because camping, it's like, you just kind of go lazy and you want to get takeout or just eat whatever is on hand. But I really planned ahead, and you can actually have hot dogs. There's a certain organic Applegate brand hot dog with no sugar added. You can have those. So I had those with a side salad. Like I just found my ways to do camping. I brought RX bars and the Lara bars that have no peanuts in them, and it helps. So you just really have to plan ahead for success. Like I mentioned before, the information and the recipes and the resources out there can all be so overwhelming, right? Like on Pinterest, you can find a million things. I found a few Instagrammers that I love. The Defined Dish, Against All Grain. They have some really good Whole30 approved recipes. So what I have found is I will make 1 or 2 of those type of recipes a week, but then the rest of the week, I'm just doing very simple things like chopped up sausage, chicken sausage with a bunch of veggies. And I mean, that's it. That's my dinner. Or then last night I tried the Mongolian beef. I'll show you here. Guys, so here's a little bit more elaborate looking Whole30 dinner. This is Whole30 Mongolian beef. I have had a sample. This is crazy delicious. And then I just roasted some green beans in the oven with some olive oil and some coconut omnios. And then I toasted these sesame seeds to put on top of here. That was so good. It took a little bit more effort though, but it was fun because I felt like I had the space in my day to do a little bit more of an involved dish. Easy dinner. So I had the package of this kale, Brussels sprout, stuff, and I'm just sauteing it in a little bit of ghee and salt and pepper. And then over here in my Instant Pot, I have a pound of ground turkey. Now it was frozen, so I'm testing it out in the Instant Pot. And then I'm gonna mix that with some pasta for the kids, ground turkey over the veggies for me, but I'm using this Muir Glen tomato basil. It has no sugar added. That's what I'm gonna be eating, and then that's how I modify my meal when I'm making a meal for the family. And then I might even put some of that inside the kids' pasta to get them some greens. So Very easy, very basic. Whole30 does not have to be these like crazy meals. And find that balance between trying new things and being creative, while also though finding things that are simple, like just buying a rotisserie chicken and shredding it up and having an easy salad. So that's it. I'm gonna cut it off here. You're not allowed to weigh yourself in Whole30. You're not allowed to do any measurements or anything because it's not about that. So I don't have any like statistics for you on that, but I will be back early September with a whole video, and I will weigh in and I'll let you know what I lost and again my overall thoughts. But if you're considering it, I really suggest you do it. Like, think about it for a couple days and then just dive in. Like, join me, start now, and I think you're gonna really enjoy it, and it's gonna show you that you are made of so much like more than you thought you were capable of.